Before I begin the video, I will remind you to please click like if you like my content and subscribe to our channel, tell a friend, and more importantly, go to our website and send us your email address to become a VIP that we can send you announcements and VIP benefits that we'll think of as we go along. So thank you very much, and let's go on. Hi, I'm miltonchang of Bonsaiheirloom, and today I would like to work on this actually black core pine. And it's very unusual. It either grown from a cutting or from a seed because there's no graft mark, so which makes this tree really, really desirable. I bought this tree about a year and a half ago at the Mammoth auction in Oakland, and the gentleman was a bonsai artist that's trained in Japan many, many years ago. Since then, he returned, had become a landscaping teacher, teaching people in landscaping business how to prune trees for landscaping. And he donated his entire collection for auction for charitable purpose, which is really admirable. And I bought this tree, and it was so lack of care that the whole root ball was a lump of akadama, solid as a rock. And I, with a little bit of a experience dealing with that situation, I did not dare to move too much of the root ball, but comb out a little bit to make loosen the surrounding roots, and I put it in this pot. And with my simple, mix, which is 1 part garden soil, 1 or 2 parts perlite, or 2 parts of peat moss, and I planted it, and it grew like crazy actually. And you can see this is the corking part. It shows the corks really, really well. But the tree, I like it, but I don't like it because I think it's really trying to be very traditional, and it's a very traditional number 1, number 2 branch, and so forth, and then being neglected, overgrown. But the problem is that this part is way too long before the branching comes up. And so theoretically, I can kill this branch by moving it down to give it more of an angle to hide this long trunk. So I don't know, you may have a different suggestion of what I should do, but you can see it's corking everywhere. You can see the cork. You can see the corking right here. It's really, really nice material. And also the lichen that's growing on top of it, I was able to peel some of the lichen off and put it on my other pine. They will actually catch quite nicely. So what I want to do today to show you is the attitude that you can have a nice tree. This is a nice tree by all standards. People will kill for this. But I want a fantastic tree. I want a spectacular tree that's so differentiated that it would be ooh and ah in a show, that you would really appreciate it. And at my age, that's why I really appreciate buying these old trees, because it's got the bark and so forth that I could never fake it without spending another 10, 15, 20 years growing it. And I ain't got the time. So that's why I'm very happy to pay for that price, almost at any price, and start to modify it to become drastic. So for example, my decision is to actually cut this branch off to make this into a squatty little stout tree. And normally what I would say is I leave some trunk to make into gin, but on the other hand, this should be a nice curve, and then this is the gin. So I actually cut it off right at the joint to accentuate this curve. So with that in mind, then, I hope you don't cringe, but that's what I will do, and I'll start doing it. It will take me 10 minutes to transform this tree, and I think you will ooh and ah about it after you see what happens to this tree, and begin to be willing to take drastic cuts on your tree to make them dramatic, to show off your artistic viewpoint. It may not be right the first time, But if you keep working on it, with a drastic starting point, it will become a nice tree. So with that in mind then, that's what I'll do. I think this is a nice gin, and this creates a nice little bump here. And so I'll just cut it off right here. And maybe I'll even carve it to make it more of a smooth transition. I hope you don't cringe. Look at that. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video so far. We got a lot more going on. This is about halfway. Please click like if you like my content, and subscribe to our channel, tell a friend, and more importantly, go to our website and sign up to become our VIP for goodies. You can see if I put it in a pot like this, which I can easily do to fit into it, it would be a dramatic tree when all this fill out. So, but I won't do that today. I want this to grow one more time for me to see the potential possibilities. And then this fall, I'll cut it back to fit into this pot. And I think it will be a very nice bonsai. So let me get to work a little bit to reshape it. So for pine tree, I really like to use guy wire because pine tree, I did this maybe 6 months ago to pull this branch down. And you can see if I remove this wire, it actually didn't move. It stayed put already. And in fact, I like to introduce a little bit more of a turn. Like I would prefer this branch to come a little bit more this way. So I'll put the guy wire here. And pull it down gradually so I don't break it. You can see now the tree is growing like this, and I can further bend it down like that, and it will be a nice sweeping thing. And like this one goes that way, and then I will have this branch showing a little bit more on this side by pulling it this way. You can see the tree is now getting a little bit more dramatic. You can see the guy wire fixes the position of a branch fairly rapidly. I would say in a month or so, you can remove it without only a very little bit of a bounce back. And I want this tree to come out a little bit more because too dramatically, it's dramatically tied to the back. And I'm going to hold it temporary so I will not be girding the tree at all. If I can find a dead branch, that would be even better. So I'm just doing that. Now this part, I can see I want to pull this one down and then accentuate this apex, and then pull this one down as the back branch. See, the pines are quite resilient. So with that in mind then, I will try to pull this one down, just all by guy wire. Maybe I'll do a little bit of wiring at the end, but guy wire is quite efficient in changing the look of a tree. So I will use a combination. In this case, I will wire this because I like this branch to be coming down a little bit more than the other one. And at the same time, I will use this as a, so that's a wiring. And then I would use this as a guy wire to pull it down. So again, I use an eyeball to nail into the, to screw into the trunk. And when it's all done, show ready, I'll remove the eyeball. You will not even miss it. So now I'm pulling this down, at the same time creating an apex to have the this branch pointing up. So, well, I think I'll wait until the next time. I'll do a little bit of wiring to create the apex, the apex is quite essential. And so I basically short circuit one more bending, one more time. And so that's pretty much for this branch and this branch. And then now I will work on this one. And I would say this branch is kind of hopeless. If you look at it, it's going this way, and yet I want it to be this way. So one trick I can do, which you probably hate to do, and I'll show you how to do it. So instead of this wimpy angle, I will write this to be a fairly drastic angle, let's say this way. So what I will do is I try to cut it across the way and then bend it with this part of the bark intact so that it will grow back. So I will not kill the branch, although just to be on the safe side, I'll cut back some of the green leaves to conserve the moisture. So these are the little, you may seem that I'm brutal, reckless in what I do, but it's actually fairly thoughtful based on what I've done before that worked. So it's all by trial and error. Again, the learning process is not to take me or any bonsai person to tell you what to do, but it's to really take what they say and extrapolate to something that you would do to make it work for you. So like right now, I'm breaking the branch really where I cut it, not cut enough. Okay, you see, I broke it. And these lichen are falling off, which is wonderful. I'll take them and put them on some other branches, and they will propagate quite nicely. So now I can bend this branch quite tremendously to create a dramatic curve, but the bottom is connected because I cut it at the opposite direction of where I want it to be, and then I'll keep it there to keep the angle. So bonsai is a living art. You can take advantage of its growing ability or the growing characteristics to shape your design in a way much like a canvas to the way you wanted it. So I'm keeping this branch in place so it doesn't break any further. And then I got these branches coming down. I don't need the one branch in the back. And I cut it off to conserve water, moisture. And again, so now take a look at the tree one more time. You can see how dramatic it is. And then I will work on these candles. And since I'm at it, I might as well share with you what I know about pines, because it's a mystery to a lot of people, and they say pine is hard to do. Actually, pine is one of the easiest tree to do. So, for example, using this part I cut off, you can see the candle grows very rapidly. So, I don't think I want this thing to go out kind of straight like that. So I will cut this one off. Now the tree will grow this way and that way, and deciding what I wanted to do, if I want this branch to go up this way and then branching out, then I'll cut off this one, and I'll cut off this one. Because if I cut off here, likelihood is it will branch out this way. And then this one will grow long, and when it gets to about this length, you can see the needles will start to form. And if I cut it off here, it will start to branching here. So that's how you create this pad of the pine. And they actually, I would say you can do 2 or 3 times of cutting back the needle, the candle, and it will branch out. And 6 months later, you can do it again. So you can do it 2 or 3 times a year, and you will have ramifications very quickly. So again, here's my bonsai. This is my front. You can see this how nice this tree will be. Now, I will share with you one last thing I will do, which is the roots. I put moss on it. You can see how well the moss is growing. But the problem is that you can see this is a nice strong root, right? And this is a nice strong root. Can you see that? This is a nice strong root. And I'm not sure what's in here, but this looks like a nice strong root. These really don't look right. I mean, why is this one here and then this one is here? You'd rather see this strong root grow like this and then cut off here so that it goes that way. And then this gets cut off and that gets cut off so that this one will grow strongly this way. The whole point is you want the tree to grasp the earth, very powerful. And that's how you expect to find this tree in nature. And then what I will also do is to let some of this die off. These are all dead. And so I may take a grinding wheel and make this into dead wood, and then you will have a nice gin with a very interesting curve. And then this old tree, just like hanging off a cliff, surviving, striving for survival. Well, before I finish this video, I'd like to add the Q&A came in the last week or two from Ed in Canada. Basically, he said he has a very nice Japanese white pine that's generally known as a five-needle pine, parvifolia, which is really, really a nice material. But they're often grafted, and so in his case, he said, I have an ugly graft mark. What should I do with the white pine? Well, that's a very good question. First of all, that's a very common question, common problem, because people buy trees that are grafted for the right variety. But the problem is the graft never goes away. And sometimes they do, like Japanese maple tree. Sometimes they're so compatible that they will actually fuse. You don't even see the graft mark. But in most cases, it becomes more and more prominent with age. So what you can do is to air layer, in this case, Japanese maple and actually white pine is known to be able to air layer. So what you do is you air layer air layer above the graft mark. And what you do is you remove a layer of bark, put rooting hormone around it, and one secret is always remove around the ring altogether. Even wider the better, in a sense that if you can afford the width, wider the more likelihood it will root out. And then wrap it with really wet moss, but wrap it tight so that it will not evaporate. Because if the root ball is ever dried out, the graft would, the air layer would die. And so Japanese white pine is known to root fairly quickly. I would say about 9 months at most, 6 to 9 months or a year. You should root very quickly. If you air layer it now, by October, well, although you're in the winter time, maybe by next spring, or maybe even in the fall, you cut it off and put it in your garage or something so the root ball doesn't get freeze over. And you should have a very nice bonsai without the ugly graft mark. The other one came from Paul. He used AKA, a very interesting name. But Paul's point is that he was trying to support my point of view that you want to soak your bonsai from time to time, maybe even put it in a soaking tub and with a little bit of water touching the bottom of the bonsai pot to keep the root ball moist. And what he said is he inherited a great number of old bonsai trees from his father-in-law, and they were all yellowish and brown out and yellowish and dying and brown out and so forth. So after he took my advice and soaking them, he told me that they're really coming back vigorously. He's very happy with that advice. So please keep in mind about our patent pending bonsai pots that really retains the water for just a few more hours to allow your root ball to absorb the water. And then the air will come in by the evaporation of the osmosis. And so, well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you next week. Well, thank you very much for watching today's video. Subscribe to our channel and tell a friend. And most importantly, go to our website and sign up to become our VIP so that we can send you announcements of special considerations. Thank you very much. See you next week.